And this is the story that happened to me a couple months ago. So I left my car, I paid for 1 hour of parking, I came back, I was 2 minutes late, my fault. But the fine was $88 for being late for 2 minutes. I think this is incredible.
Holy sweet potato, my friends. Okay, I don't know what to say here, my friends. I'm gonna say something. I'm coming to America this year. I have to be careful because those fines, I go bankrupt. Oh boy, 5 things that freak me out in America. My friends, I really wonder what those things are. But before I go into that, let me ask you for one thing. If you can leave a like, thank you so much. Is the best way to show support. Now, if you can subscribe, well, in that case, forget about it. You make my day. Have that in consideration. Link for the original video in my description and split.
Hello guys, welcome to my
Thank
channel. This video is about 5 things that freak me out in the United States.
Okay.
I am from Russia and I came to the States
Sorry, I'm a Portuguese man and I have a crazy Russian accent. She's from Russia, no accent at all. Life makes no sense.
in 2015 first to run my company, and I got super excited about the Silicon Valley. I got back to Russia, got my work visa and came back in November 2016. So I've been here for 7 months and I absolutely love this place. But there are also things that I encounter in my daily life that make me really freak out. So if you're interested to hear those things, please continue watching this video.
Okay, my friends, introduction. So if you guys are wondering, I believe she lives in California, specific San Francisco, if I remember the other videos.
The first thing that really freaks me out is fines.
Fines?
So here's the story. We bought a new car, we put it into our parking basement, and we were so excited about it. I forgot to tell my building that we have a new car. But
What, you have to do it? Oh, that makes sense if you are renting or something, right?
The story is, next day, we're super excited, we want to go somewhere on a new car. We go down to the garage and there is no car.
Gone.
So it got towed away. And I'm calling the towaway service and I'm asking, hey, did you tow away Mercedes? And they're like, yes, we did. And I'm, how much?
See, that was the first mistake. A German car, a European car in America, if that was a Mustang, the car will still be there.
Hey,
I'm
did
joking.
you tow away Mercedes? And they're like, yes, we did. And I'm, how much does it cost to pick it up? And she's like, okay, I'm gonna take a pause here.
You know what? I'm also gonna guess this. How much it costs in America, assuming that we are in California, expensive state, beautiful state, but very expensive. You know, my friends, I'm feeling like here it will be like $50 to 100. In California, 200 or 300. Let's go 200. 300 is a bit crazy, to be fair.
Just take a couple of seconds and remember how much does it cost to get your car back. In your city, like in St. Petersburg, where I'm from,
$50, 100.
$80?
Yeah.
And here she goes, $600. So my reaction was like, what? Because I thought I heard some.
Did they change the tires or something? New tires on the car, that's why the price is that?
Something different. Like seriously, $600 for a towed car. And it's not like they took it next vlog. They also took it like 40 minutes away from my building. Why haven't they taken it to LA? Like, this is so crazy. And also the amount of fines that you get here. So parking in San Francisco, 1 hour costs around $4. And this is the story that happened to me a couple months ago. So I left my car, I paid for 1 hour of parking. I came back, I was 2 minutes late, my fault. But the fine was $88 for being late for 2 minutes. I think this is incredible.
Holy sweet potato, my friends. Okay, I don't know what to say here, my friends. I'm gonna say something. I'm coming to America this year. I have to be careful because those fines, I go bankrupt.
Incredible. And when I'm getting these fines, I'm like, why am I here? Why do I have to pay all of that? But yeah, I love this place. I love the Silicon Valley, and I make a separate
beautiful.
video about why I'm here. I'm gonna go to the next thing that freaks me out. Thing number 2.
What?
The cost of medical care. So I have my insurance that costs $350.
Actually, I have a question. Medical care in California will be more expensive than medical care in Illinois, for example, in the sense that I understand that everything is a bit expensive in a state like California or New York City, but when it comes to healthcare, maybe there is some type of floor that they cannot go above, if you know what I mean.
I still have to pay, like, this $350 is per month, not per year. Because in Russia, like, if you pay for, the best insurance would be like $1,000 per year.
Okay.
So yeah, I pay $350 a month, and I still have to pay for every single visit. So if I see my PCP, I pay $20. If I see a specialist, I pay $40. But the most interesting part comes later. So
But that's not too bad. I mean, $350 per month is a lot of money, to be honest with you. But the other prices, I thought they are okay, right?
If I see a specialist, I pay $40. But the most interesting part comes later. So you come and see a doctor, and imagine that something goes wrong, and he's like, oh, we need to do this and this, like, let's do an ultrasound, or I will give you a plastic band for your arm that hurts. And you're like, okay, let's do it, because the doctor advises. And then in 2 months, you get a bill from that doctor that this plastic band for your arm cost $400. And you go to the CVS store, which is like a local pharmacy, and you can get the exact same band, exact same brand for $6.
For how much?
And you're like, seriously? And this is what happens. Like, if you're conscious and if you can make choices, and you would say like, no, I don't need your band, then you save $400. Because sometimes insurance doesn't cover this. It says like, this is the cost that you have to carry.
Okay, that's crazy, my friend. See, the thing about healthcare, look, I know this is something that you guys disagree with me sometimes, but I'm happy that I have free healthcare in Portugal. I have to be honest with you, my friends, because it puts a lot of stress out. I still have insurance, by the way. I still go to the private system. But when something, if there is something really bad, I always have the public service that is free. I know there will be people that will put in the comments, you guys also pay a lot of taxes. That's fair. But that's fair. I don't pay 350 of taxes every month just for healthcare in specific. So there is that also. But basically, this is a giant culture shock. I have to be fair. I love America, but the healthcare freaks me out a bit.
Then coming down. But imagine something bad happens, like when you cannot control what other people do and you cannot say, no, please don't do the ultrasound, I know how much it costs. Yeah, and you still have your copay, you still have your out-of-pocket expense. So getting sick in America is really expensive. And there is this video that went viral on Facebook. The guy needed to replace his hip, and it cost around, I don't remember the exact numbers, but it cost him like $50,000 in the States. And he said for that amount of money, he could have flown to Spain, business class.
Again, okay, but to be fair here, my friends, the system is completely different. In a lot of European countries, healthcare, since it's kind of like a human right, is something that is something that the government needs to provide to you for free as long you contribute to society. Or you are part of society. But better saying, you don't even have to contribute. And I guess that's where some problems start happening. But it's totally different, my friends. You know what? Sometimes when I talk about my experience in Europe, I never know if you guys care about that or not. But I mean, tell me in the comments if you find this type of videos interesting, because I always say the biggest culture shock that I can tell you is probably guns, in the sense that most Europeans never touch it again. And of course, that's quite different in America. But the second one could be healthcare, to be fair.
It cost around, I don't remember the exact numbers, but it cost him.
No, I'm going to make a contra-argument here. So, we have free healthcare in my country, right? And a lot of countries in Europe is exactly the same system with a couple of nuances. But 50% or close to that of people in my country also have insurance. And you may ask, André, why is that if you guys have free healthcare? So insurance makes no sense. But since it's free, a lot of people tend to use the system. And if you want a specific, let's say you need a doctor for your eyes. If you go to the public system, it takes years at this point. So the best idea will be have insurance and you pay a bit less and you go to the private system, basically like you guys do in America. So there is that. But overall, for example, I pay for my insurance, I believe like $25 or something, they're trying to make the conversion between euro and dollar. So it's nothing comparable with this lady.
Him like $50,000 in the States, and he said for that amount of money he could have flown to Spain business class, replace the hip, then go to the mountains, ski, break his hip again, replace the hip again, spend some time in the south of France relaxing.
Okay, but now see, these type of comparisons are also a bit dumb in the sense that okay, maybe in America overall the guy pays in terms of percentage between 15 to 30% of taxes. In Spain in particular, Spain is also, the socialist party is also very popular there, may pay, 50% of taxes if the guy makes a decent amount of money.
And enjoying the sun and come back to the States and he would still have $5,000 left. Like, can you imagine that?
This is, we have to be careful with this type of comparisons because I'm not saying the system you guys have is good or bad, but our system is not perfect, so because sometimes I see a lot of Americans, even Europeans, saying that the Portuguese system, the European system is the best. That's not true. It's just different.
I think this can be fixed with a more expensive insurance, but last time I caught a virus and I was at home, I was really afraid that it might get worse. So before I got the fever, I tried to Google all the urgent care centers that are in my insurance so I don't come to an urgent care that is outside my insurance and I have to pay all of the fees. The third thing, internet and mobile phone. So again, I'm comparing with my country and I'm comparing Silicon Valley to St. Petersburg. I know it can be different in different parts of the United States, but my internet here is provided by Xfinity Comcast, and if you've ever called their customer service like this video, so I called their customer service at least 20 times because they have told me I'm gonna have a specific speed and my speed is always like 5 times slower. And you call them during the day and you say, hey,
this I cannot add a lot, but internet in Portugal is quite amazing.
Speed is actually slower than you promised, and they're like, oh, you should reboot your router and wait about 24 hours and everything is gonna be fine. And you do that and you call them the next day because of course nothing happens, and you have a different customer support guy who tells you, oh, you should reboot your router and wait for 24 hours. So after the 4th day, I called them back and I'm like starting to freak out, and they send in an electrician or a specialist who checks the wires, and he says the wire, the Comcast wire that goes into my house is actually really old and this is what I'm getting. And I'm like, thank you, that's amazing. And I paid $80 a month for my internet. And the second thing is mobile phone. I pay $40 and I only get 4 gigabytes of internet, and the rest I need to pay for it. Yes, calls and texts are free, but then in Russia I pay like less than $10 a month. Thing number 4, homeless people. I know this is a San Francisco thing, but seriously, an average one...
So this is the type of thing that I would say 10 years ago, look, there is homeless people everywhere, to be honest. But 10 years, 5 years ago, I remember looking at some videos in America and I thought it was a bit crazy, to be fair with you. Nowadays, because of the crazy amount of immigration that Europe is getting, there is a big increase of homeless people also in Europe, in a lot of cities in my country. It's kind of sad because at the end of the day those people are searching for a new life, but this is something basically that I saw in America. and of course I thought it was bad, but now is becoming also quite more popular in Europe in general. I mean, kind of sad. At the end of the day, those are human beings, right? And everyone deserves some type of respect, some type of quality of life. But this video is a bit old, to be fair, but this is happening here. Is growing quite fast, is what I'm trying to say.
One bedroom apartment here costs $3,500 or like $4,000, and when you go out of your building, you want to enjoy the city vibes, you want to enjoy the nature. But when I go out of my building, I see homeless people everywhere, and there is nothing that is done to put them away from the streets. There are loads and loads of them, and if you've been to San Francisco, you've probably seen them. They sleep out there in the streets, they eat there. They also take drugs in the streets, and many of them are mentally ill. And it's like they don't touch people, they just live in their own worlds. But sometimes, like, if they find something in you, they can follow you and scream at you and shout. And this makes me really intimidated and scared because I'm afraid something's gonna happen. And once I tried to help one of the homeless people and I gave him some money, and you know what he's done? So I gave him change, and he sat there and he started throwing away 1-cent coins because this is obviously too small. I don't know, like, if you guys know why this is happening and what can be done to help those people, but I think there are too much of homeless people in San Francisco streets. And the fifth thing...
Okay, a lot of things to say there. My friend, this was a very sensitive topic, to be honest. I don't think anyone wants to be homeless. It's just life that ends up getting too difficult for one reason or another, and sometimes that's the easy way out. Look, when she ended up talking about mental problems, I think reasons can be very diverse, of course, and every case will be a case. But a lot of homeless people, they struggle with drugs, they struggle with alcohol, and you have a bunch of studies that prove that in the long run, that completely destroys your brain, your mental health. So it is what it is. I don't have more to say here, but is a sensitive topic, is a complex one. I try to not have strong opinions on this.
I know many people from Europe would understand me. Tax once you pay. So you never see the amount of tax you're going to pay before.
Okay, in other end, this is not a controversial topic at all. Does not matter, basically.
Beforehand, you only find it out at the cashier when you're actually giving money. And for example, you go to have lunch.
Just to say another thing. I also think if you look at studies, there is more and more people dealing with mental health problems, not just homeless people. So there is also that to have in consideration. And there is another thing, even though I don't think is the main reason, but housing in a lot of first world countries like America, like most of countries in Europe, is becoming impossible to afford for a regular person. I'm not saying that's the reason, but I think that also goes into something that, you know, could play a role, basically.
Find it out at the cashier when you're actually giving money. And for example, you go to have lunch and you see that the sandwich is like $7 and the drink is $1.5, and you're like, hey, I'm gonna spend $8.5, but you come to this lady to pay and she says $9.50 or whatever. I still don't know which is the exact amount of tax here, but and it's okay when it's lunch, like it's extra $1 extra, 60 cents extra. But if you're buying something big and you save money for it, and then at the checkout you actually find that you have to pay $300 more or $400 more.
Again, I like this. I said this in other videos, my friends. This is a easy way for you to know how much the government or the state takes from you, you know.
This really freaks me out, and I don't know why.
This makes you, when you vote next time, you'll think about that.
Or $400 more. This really freaks me out, and I don't know why it's impossible to just write down the amount of tax included into price. This is really weird for me. So these were the...
We do that here, you know. If you see $1 is $1 that you pay. But I really believe this is an easy way to manipulate the population. I don't want to go into conspiracy theories because most of them are quite trash, to be fair. But this one, I'm with America, my friends. Don't put that the person will figure out how much the state, the government, whatever it is taking from you. And like I said, next time when you vote, you, at least, I hope again, you will have that in consideration.
5 things that freak me out in the States. Many people would tell, why are you still there? Why don't you move out?
Because it's an amazing country.
I think I will make a separate video, or if you look at some other videos, I've already said this is the best place right now for me to run my company. And yeah, if you just came from the States or you've never been to States but there are things that freak you out, please write them down in comments, let's discuss.
Thank you.
And let me know what you think about this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next videos. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh my
Hello
gosh.
guys.
Okay, I may watch that, I guess. But friends, basically, this was an awesome video. When she ended up talking about internet, and I'm not saying a lot, there is also some construction being done in my house that you guys end up, that's one of the reasons you guys end up hearing some noise. But basically, internet, it is very good. And I assume this will, if you live in a different state, in a different city, probably will have a different experience than her. So it's a non-topic for me because it's a generalization of America, so makes not a lot of sense. The topic that I thought was, 2 topics that I thought are interesting is the healthcare, because that also scares me a bit since I'm coming to America this year, even though I think everything will be all right. And the homeless people, I need to speak American, homeless people, because it's something that is also increasing a lot in Europe. And at the end of the day, I mean, for me, I feel a lot of empathy for those people, you know, so it's difficult for me to watch people in that reality when I'm so lucky, you know, so there is that. My friends, tell me what you think about this video. See you guys in the next one. Bye, my friends. By the way, I felt end up being too negative on this video for some reason. If that's the case, you guys know I love America, right? By the way, are you guys seeing that? Yeah, I have an Instagram and a Facebook account, so links below. My friends, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye.